What's going on, ChavezzSlovakia? Now, we've already covered in past videos why this chair is here. I don't know if I want to continue to go over that every single video, but we did a Dragon Ball Z Day, and I tried to get in some DBZ parodies, but at the time, Team 4 Star's DBZ vids had gotten struck down, so that I was unable to react to any videos that they had up there. But I did notice they have a lot of top lists. So this is Team 4 Star's top 24 villains. This is part one of a two-part series. It is by the Team 4 Stars. Make sure you go check out their channel and check out team4star.com, because all of their videos that were on YouTube are hosted on their website, so you can still watch them there. So without further ado, let's get into the video.
It's Godzilla!
No, it's Runa Guard!
What even is that name?
Well, you see, the character's name actually comes from the movie's co-producer, Seiichi Hirota, who...
Japanese, got it. This villain barely makes the list on his looks, powers, and concept alone. He has absolutely no personality, nor motivation, beyond being a destructive, fire-breathing, terrifying creature that, while unique to this franchise, has very little lasting impact.
Well, you know, it's a big scary monster, right? That's good.
Honestly, as with many of the DBZ movie villains, he'd likely be higher on this list if he had exhibited any character or emotion, but that's all left to Hoy, who, well, he's not bad, but...
He's just a catalyst to move the plot along. Honestly, I love Runa Guard, but he's not a good villain. Just a cool concept that does well enough for the film he's in, exhibiting some interesting abilities and a horrifying design. Actually, his name even plays into that. See, the Garn in the name comes from the Japanese onomatopoeia.
Also, he gets defeated in the most infuriating way
We're
possible.
cutting each other off.
Mind Fist is pretty cool, though.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Dragon Fist is always one of my favorite abilities.
But the Big Getty Star allowed him to cheat low rankings! How could this be?
Yeah, yeah, we wanted to start with the joke because some of you are probably pissed.
If some of you remember our last list, our opinions on the Cooler films lay somewhere firmly around middling, with Cooler himself not really shining as brightly as his canonical brother.
While his personality is less flowery and condescending than Frieza, making him less of a whole hog ripoff, he also loses a lot of what made his brother an amazing villain, leaving him, well...
Let's go over a checklist of what Cooler accomplishes, shall we? Crashes a picnic? Check. Enslaves a race of pacifists? Check. Fails to kill a single person? Check.
Yeah.
The only thing Cooler actually kills, Goku revives.
Yeah.
Live on, Toriyama.
The one thing Cooler definitely brings to the table, however, are his designs. His initial look is reminiscent of Frieza, but his transformed state is brilliantly designed, intimidating as hell.
And at least he's slightly more interesting than his dad.
It is a neat idea to explore more of Frieza's family tree, but following a near-fatal battle on an exploding planet...
Yeah, well, I mean,
in comparison to his younger brother as a villain.
Further, his Metacooler appearance manages to be both simple and effective. He also manufactures an entire army of himself because, you know, if you want something done right, do it yourself.
But what does he do with his new clone army? He takes over New Namek. You know, the cheaper version of the entire planet his brother destroyed.
Taking over Namek again. Oh, come on, there's gotta be another planet out there that you can exploit for something more than cabbage.
Cooler demonstrates a few unique moves and has some great fight scenes in his first movie, but his lame personality and stupid cloning scheme keep him from the upper echelon of Dragon Ball villains.
I can agree
Looks
with
like
that.
it's hip to be square.
It was still cool.
It ain't great to be Cooler.
He was still cool.
22.
Hey, what's Boo doing so low on this list?
Yeah, he's a ripoff of Boo. We were pretty blatant about that last year. But now let's talk about what makes Junmo work.
His design can be a bit busy, but overall its Valentine's Day inspired color scheme and demonic motif, paired with one of the coolest weapons in Dragon Ball, already help him to stand out.
But combine that with some of the coolest techniques in the franchise, including phasing in and out of dimensions via Lego block teleportation, portal punching, and the ability to imbue matter with his own evil energy to create weapons of deadly precision.
And you have a character that would have made the top 10 if he hadn't been a shameless ripoff of a better villain and had, you know, the slightest hint of personality.
And a bigger vocabulary than a Pokemon. That being said, even Fat Janemba's design is fascinating. Oh, and he kinda opened a portal to hell, bringing back every other villain in Dragon Ball history.
Oh, okay.
Including Goku's most monstrous dictator rival, Hitler. Make sure to play Dragon Ball Z, Boo's Führer on the GBA for more info.
He's also the only villain outside of GT to require Vegeta and Goku to set aside their differences and combine their powers via fusion dance to put him down.
Go, Gadget Gogeta.
Go, Gadget Gogeta.
Janemba, if only you were more than a pretty face, maybe we could have had something.
Good God.
21.
Savage.
Oh, God. Do we have to do this?
Kaiser, get over it. GT happened.
Did it, though?
As the first entry into
it didn't.
December representing the GT canon, we're starting with the last villains introduced. The Shadow Dragons.
Conjured from the abused titular Dragon Balls, these 7 characters embody the 7 balls as anthropomorphic dragons, each with their own distinct personalities, designs, and set of abilities.
Right.
Oh, yeah, real distinct. By the way, how are those personalities? Real diverse character sheets here. Is evil, also dragon, mole, question mark?
Come on, Kaiser. Moles are like dragons of the earth.
Oh, yeah, and frogs are the dragons of the ocean. Oh, wait, that's
Dragon of
just
the
dragons.
Out of the 7 that are presented, only 3 of them are truly intimidating and effective. That being said, they're actually as high on this list as they are by concept alone.
Yeah, actually, I'd happily praise that part. Much as with a lot of GT, the concepts presented are fascinating and tantalizing, but their execution falls short. The overuse of the Dragon Balls over the last 30 years has corrupted them, releasing a force of destruction that perverts the cornerstone of the entire series, turning their prized MacGuffin into their final challenge. How could you go wrong?
We'll give it to
How could
Toei
you
Animation
go
for making
wrong?
these characters stand out with different designs and powers that make them unique. But at this point of the series, it comes off as tiresome and boring when most of them don't feel like a legitimate threat.
Right.
Sin Shenron, who becomes Omega Shenron, feels absolutely no different from every villain before him. His motivation is fascinating, but it does nothing to inform his actions. He's just evil for evil's sake,
Right.
and what started as karma just becomes cliche.
Out of the dragons, Nova and Ice are easily the most complex characters of them all, and certainly do well to give depth to the plot and the events that unfold. Unfortunately, near the end, they are absorbed, forgotten, and we're left with an unsatisfying final boss.
That being said, Omega Shenron brings about many spectacular events, such as Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta and the Universal Spirit Bomb.
Which is awesome.
So while the dragons themselves might have been disappointing, they certainly made for some developments.
Also, they lead into the ending of GT, which we as a group wholeheartedly believe is the best ending the franchise has received
People
so
hated
far.
that show so
brownie
much.
points there.
So, to close, Super 17 didn't even make the list. See what, baby bitches?
20.
Evil scientist brain in a jar and his robot companion.
Fantastic.
Before Jiro and Android 19.
Those familiar with last year's DBcember list have already seen the bountiful comparisons to be made with Dr. Gero and his androids.
But we're going to review this terrifying duo on their own merits. The exceptionally cool part about them is how unique their concepts and motivation are in comparison to everything that came before them.
The plot of capturing Goku and replacing his brain to become both the strongest and smartest man in the world is fascinating and
That's basically Get Out, but the Dragon Ball Z version.
gives everything this dark sci-fi tinge that radiates particularly well with the visuals and music in this film.
Unfortunately, while their concept certainly ranks them high for us personally, their execution lacks personality. Kochin is a treat to watch because of how over-the-top dastardly he behaves throughout the film, but he's really only made that much better by comparison as Dr. Wheelo himself is...
A brain in a jar who wants to control the world because he's apparently super-duper smart and junk.
Yep.
While he's visually captivating with his grotesque design and concept, he's not supported much outside of his quest for world domination via Goku's body.
And Kochin is just a right-hand man-bot who, while kooky and malicious, lacks any nuance. Although a built-in Gatling gun in the arm definitely makes him
It's pretty
stand
cool.
high up on the list as
It's
far
like
as minions go.
Trigun.
All in all, perfectly
But Dragon Ball
serviceable,
Z
if
like.
not underdeveloped villains that should have set the standard for others to follow. Should have, but didn't.
Nope.
Guess who else isn't on the list?
19.
Zarbon, Dodoria, and the General Frieza forces wouldn't have made this list on their own, but as a collective, they helped to propel Dragon Ball to new, sci-fi-inspired heights with their designs, personalities, and overwhelming strength.
Well, overwhelming in comparison to our heroes. This isn't the first time we've seen such a gap in power between the minions and the good guys. But this extreme puts Gohan, Krillin, and even Vegeta on the defense at all times.
Right.
Well, until Vegeta jobs both Dodoria and Zarbon. While still being forces to be reckoned with in their own right, they exist primarily to emphasize how terrifying Frieza must be.
Right, yeah.
Also to give Vegeta a ladder to climb.
I was about to say, when I was watching that was what I was thinking the most, was like, if his henchmen are this strong, how strong does Frieza have to be for real?
He burns through each of them with ease, with the only hiccup being Zarbon's transformation.
But Zarbon's transformation exists not only to give Vegeta conflict, but also to introduce a mechanic that would very quickly become a staple of the franchise. That's right, kids. Transformations all basically started with Zarbon.
Unless we count the Uzaru,
Right.
and that's its own ball of wax. Really though, it's the interactions these villains get with others that help flesh out Frieza's presence as a villain. Their deconstruction of the elite Namekian fighters is a level of brutality rarely seen in the franchise.
It's impossible to ignore just how unique and striking their designs are. The Saiyan uniforms work exceptionally well as standard soldier attire for Frieza's men. Zarbon's pretty boy look belying his beastly true form is a great contrast. And Dodoria! Look at this spiky evil bastard. He looks exactly like the guy who would kill a kid then snap his grandfather's neck.
But as they are in fact minions, it's no surprise that their ranking would fall beneath their masters. But that doesn't mean they didn't leave a heck of an impact on the franchise as a whole. Wait, we completely forgot somebody!
Oh crap, yeah, how can we talk about the Frieza forces without bringing up its most memorable member?
Apool! Give it up for Apool, everyone!
Hey. That was good. That was really informative, though. It brought back a lot of memories from some Dragon Ball Z episodes that I haven't seen in a very long time. I don't know exactly what I expected from the end of the list, but this is definitely a series that I'm going to continue because I want to get to some people that I know more about. So thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you guys in the next one. Definitely drop me some more top lists for me to check out. And I'll see you guys later, man. For everybody new, welcome to ChavezzSlovakia. Peace.